You are listening to the Hammersley Brothers e-commerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Good, I guess, afternoon, Ian. It's quite late for you. How are you doing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
I know. Well done.
10 p.m.
Staying up.
Clocks have changed, so actually it's not sound. It's 9 really.
Yeah.
It's 10 feels like 9.
Yeah, we get this weird week where the time is exactly 12 hours out, which is always a bit weird for me, and then it changes in the end of the weekend, and I start doing later night calls instead of morning calls, and that means you get to have the summer, and I get to lose the summer.
Well, it's a psychological shift, isn't it? I think in the UK, and there's a lot.
It's a lot more in the UK.
The clocks have
definitely
changed.
It's definitely because it's like everybody's desperate for spring, aren't they? They're desperate for a little bit of nice weather and all that kind of stuff. And you usually have this kind of early summer, don't you, where it's a bit. So anyway, the topic today, we'll introduce the topic, and the topic today is AI in e-commerce. And it's not something we covered, and obviously it's a huge topic, and everybody's talking about it loads, and it's been going on for a long time, like as you were saying. And I think when it first came out, it was a lot of hype, and there was no real benefit to a lot of people at the beginning. And now the almost people have got bored of the hype, and yet there's actually loads of real practical.
Well, this is my personal journey. So I go and speak at conferences occasionally, and people ask me to speak at e-commerce shows and things like that. And I remember this was kind of coming out of the back of COVID. It was probably 2023. It was 2023 or maybe early 24. And I was at a conference, and I looked down the roster of the speakers and the events, and honestly, I couldn't see one that didn't seem to contain the word AI, and it was just like, oh my God, it was such a buzzword, wasn't it? It was like every conference, every speaker, everything was all about AI, and actually a lot of it at the time, I'm going back, a couple of years or year and a half, it was hot air really, because it was, great. But how on earth do we use it in our business? Yeah, and that's actually still the number one question, is that unless you actually know how and where and when to use it, like everything in business, it is a case of knowing what to do when for the biggest of move for the needle. And I think that's still where it is. But so anyway, let me just continue my little story. So I was at these shows and I was talking about, the fundamentals of e-commerce growth, and I wasn't talking about AI at the time. And I think it was a refreshing takeaway for people, because it was all about practical things we can actually do. And I was definitely sick of it. I was sick of it going back 2 years ago. I thought this is and everybody kept asking me how are we using AI? However, now we are at the start of 2025, and we probably, if there's one thing we're fairly well known for, it's cutting through the bullshit of e-commerce. What's a shiny distraction, and making sure that people really focus on the right next thing. But we're using it in all of our e-commerce businesses and our brands and the way we market and the way we run. We're using AI. I'm using it every day, all day, in my everyday job, but also there are certain things that we've used AI for that have been absolutely game-changing, particularly in the last probably 3 months. Yeah. Game-changing. I mean, we can talk about them now, or we can leave it so people want to know what are the game-changing things that Ian and Mark have been doing in the podcast. Is that annoying? Or is that what
we can just talk?
Podcasters do?
And to be honest, like as you know, we don't really have a topic. We don't have an outline, so we'll just go where the conversation flows. And so, I think for me, AI was more powerful for people who were more technical at the beginning, and now it's flowing through to people who are less technical as well. And so I'm someone that kind of sits between the two. So I'm not a developer, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm in the middle, and I'm kind of both. And so for me, it's been very, very powerful. For example, I haven't really needed coders. I can code with Grok 3 very easily, and I can do huge things. So it's almost like I feel like I've got an extra pair of arms. Like I just feel more capable of a lot more things than I had done before. But now and when they were speaking in those conferences to AI, like the AI was there, but it was like hidden behind many, many layers of curtains. And now the average person has got their hands on the tools as well. And it's coming through to like pretty much, you don't even have to seek it out to find it. It is there in all the tools that you have already used. It is built into the tools. Like, so if you're using your email service, or you're using your something that recommends products on your website, or your search.
Writing your copy inside Shopify, writing subject lines inside your Klaviyo email or MailChimp. It is already built in. I mean, it's already there, baked in. You probably won't even realize it. It's like PMax in Google. It's like Advantage Plus in Meta. And I think that's probably the first distinction that I think is quite an obvious one, but it possibly needs unpacking a little bit, is that when you hear people talking about AI, you've got to be using AI now, to get ahead. You kind of think, well, where is this secret AI thing? Like, what is it? Is it like this software we download? Like, what is it? And it isn't that really. It is becoming baked into all the things that we're using. If you are on the right tech stacks in the first place, that you're on your Shopify and you're on your Klaviyo, and you've got your Google Ads and your Meta, that it's already there in built. So that's one thing, sort of a slight reassurance. But well, can I tell you what I think the game-changing things personally for me? The game-changing things personally, and I would say I'm, I've always traditionally looked at the aesthetics of things and the creativeness and the brand and how we portray the brand and tap into the emotion, and actually how it all comes together visually. And I found that particularly doing video was always quite challenging for us in the UK. We have we're a pretty big team. We obviously got the Hammersley brothers, and we've got many different businesses that we're running. And one of the things I always found quite difficult was doing creative ads and video, particularly video. And I think that's the thing that I found game changing, to be honest, is actually creating video content for ads, for the site itself, for content, for the product page, doing video on the product page, doing video within Meta and social platforms. And I've always found it really, really difficult, because you'd have to go and get a video production company. You'd have to give them an amazing brief. You would then get back like hours and hours and hours of irrelevant footage that you then have to sort of piece together and then work out how you're going to use it. And it was ridiculously expensive, really slow. You needed loads of money, and consequently, it just didn't happen. It was something that was reserved for these big brands who could go and afford to do these massive photo shoots and video shoots in the south of France with a whole triage of like model. I mean, look, think about it. You'd need models. So take a fashion client that what would have happened 10 years ago. If you wanted to do a photo shoot in the south of France, you'd need to fly everybody there. You'd need all the models. You'd need a makeup artist. You need a set an art director. You need a videographer. You need a photographer. You'd need to brief it. You'd need to do so much, and it would take so long. It would cost a lot of money, 100 grand probably. And now the creative that we have been able to achieve using AI with the right prompt. We had a conversation about this the other day. We were having a private conversation about what jobs are still going to be existing, and we were talking about. You were talking about creativity and art, and we came to the conclusion that the thing that's safe is the art director, the creative director, who sits in the middle, who's like, right, this is the scene,
this is the direction we're going,
the prop,
this is what's good,
what we need, this is the brand, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. That's really, really key. But using AI has enabled that art director. So for me, that's the bit that I really enjoyed. And to be able to do this so quickly, but with the right prompt, with the right understanding. I knew what I wanted to achieve, and I knew exactly what it was, but it was very difficult and very expensive and time-consuming to get there. Using AI, I've just been blown away. We were using Kling AI, and that's built on like the dark. What's it called? Deep Seek? No,
I'm not sure what it's built on. I just use it.
New,
it's this thing you don't know, do you? Just use it.
Well, it was the AI. Yeah, it was the new tech, the new chips that came out that were like everybody was freaking out over because it was like a tenth of the price of ChatGPT and yeah, it was like DeepSeek or something.
Yeah.
DeepSeek, and it's based on that technology, and it's only like brand new, and it's just like I was starting to use it, and you said you got to check it out, and I. Like most things you say, I mean, it takes me a couple of weeks, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go and have a look because I'm much busier than you, so I don't have time to sit there and play around with stuff. Anyway, I looked at it and I was like, holy moly! I could not believe the quality of the video that it was creating. I mean, if you look at my history with creating images using AI. They look so fake and over contrasty and so clearly AI that I just thought this is embarrassing. I couldn't, it's rubbish. You just couldn't use it, using the kind of traditional. I mean, and this has just changed in the last 3 months. Now, it's just blown me away with it.
Yeah. And it's kind of happened at the time when things like meta ads and things like that are actually looking for more creatives. Like you actually need to create more creatives. Creatives have got more easily to produce, and I guess the thing is that those brands that would separate themselves in the market through spending on huge photo shoots and making them look good and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot harder for them to do that because that's going to be democratized. That big fashion show. I mean, take the bedding site. When we first launched, we had to go and get a photo shoot done for it, and it was about £7,000. I remember thinking that's a lot of money to launch.
And it was such a pain,
and it was so crap.
And it was really disappointed with the results because we couldn't see what we were getting. We didn't really know. We had to hire a house. That turned out to be not quite right because it had like an industrial estate in the background. It had really, and it was like, oh, God.
And yet today we could recreate that photo shoot in about half an hour, and it would be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it would be better,
and
the model would be better. because the model we could afford at startup wasn't the most amazing model.
But you'd go, actually, can we try this with a different model, and can we try this in a different background, and can we try this,
put tattoos on the model. You can do can quickly change things to change the mood and the feel and the energy of the shots so much faster than you could.
And the most exciting thing is how quickly that technology has come on to be something that has gone from that's they've got a hand that's got 18 fingers. Everybody's seen this, done this, and it's or they've got 4 legs or just something weird something really
Kling
odd.
AI still does that from videos. If you make it's okay for taking simple things and turning them into a little bit like a vase and doing a 3D shot of those kind of things.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get people involved and you're doing complicated movements, like for the bedding one, I was trying to get someone to come and sit on the bed, and then they would, as they came onto the bed, their lower half of their body would disappear, and I was like, well, that doesn't look real. So it's still evolving, and a lot of it isn't quite there yet to do exactly what you want. But if you know what you're doing, you can do a lot better. And you can generate
new technology
seed
coming out, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where there's now now's the one that's
Chimera.
You can choose a model.
Yeah.
And you can then it's specifically designed for fashion. And you can get them to do certain things, and those things are just it's changing all the time.
Do you think there will be a change in the consumer's mind when they realize that all the advertising they're seeing is not real?
It's starting already. There was a big news piece in the UK this week, or last week just gone, with H&M. H&M is a big fashion brand. It's it's not English actually, is it? I can't remember where they're from.
Oh, they're all over. They're even in New Zealand as well. So they
but I mean the head office. But yeah, I mean they came out and said, look, we're going to use AI for our models. What they actually are doing is they're taking still photos of real people, and they're using that as an AI model to then do other things with the model's consent, and they've got the permission. But I think what did that headline? Why did it go viral? It was all over the news. It was all on the BBC app, and obviously the connotation is, what effect is this having on our industry? How is it going to change?
There'll be brands that come out, and I think there'll be, like there's the Organic Soil Association, and then they'll be accredited and those kind of things. That maybe there'll be some adverts that'll have an accreditation to be AI free, and that'll be a positioning for a brand. It's like, we're a natural brand and we don't use any AI in our advertising and all that stuff. There'll be that kind of backlash against it well, like there've been other technology, but it doesn't mean it's going to go away.
Look, right now, I mean, that debate can play out, but right now, we are using it for dramatic advancements in our ability to resonate with the customer, and cut the speed of how long this took and the cost. So it's massively accelerating how quickly we can grow a brand. That debate will play out. And let it play
storytelling
out. But right now. Yeah, storytelling, but just generally from a morality perspective, let that debate play out. But in the meantime, let everybody in our program benefit from it.
Well, it's like everything. Like you remember when Kindles came out, and the independent bookshops hated Kindles, and there was like people saying, I won't buy Kindles, I'm going to buy books. All these bookshops are shutting down and all that kind of stuff. And obviously it was sad to see those bookshops shutting down. But on the flip side of that, the amount of authors that Kindle created, like people who now are full-time authors who would never be authors before, who now could self-publish and could create living from doing that, from writing, which is their passion. Whereas before it was dominated by publishers who were gatekeepers and say, oh, that's rubbish, I'm not going to publish that. And so you get these flip sides of it. It benefits massively one side, and then obviously doesn't benefit everybody. And so I think that AI will be the same. Like if you can look at one side of it and go, well, these people are losing their jobs and that's not as good. But on the other side of it, you're getting these brand owners like us who now can tell a much better story about the brand much more quickly, and we can start up businesses for the consumer much more quickly and easily, and everything benefits from it.
And actually, it was a completely unfair playing field, because historically it was only this creative, these video shoots, these photography shoots, these wonderful lifestyle, photography and video scenes were only available to the big, massive brands that had a huge bank account. And it was very, very difficult for a new player to come in, and compete. Obviously, people did it and they do it.
The gatekeepers are being destroyed across all industries. Like those publishers, they're the gatekeepers. They're being destroyed. Like the original, newspapers used to be the gatekeepers of what news was. They're being they've gone. The gatekeepers of television, YouTube has come. So all the disruption is all the gatekeepers in society who had the power is being gradually given to somebody else, like to the people, obviously. And the trouble is, if you've just got to keep up with it, because if you aren't involved in AI and seeing how it can be in the business, like you're just kind of behind. It's just like,
and you want to say something that's really key. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's definitely removing the gatekeepers and, you know, putting the power into the hand of the actual, you know, creator. I'm going to say there's one thing that's really, really important, is that AI is still a massive enabler, and it enables people to achieve things so much quicker. But at the core, you've got to fundamentally understand how you can create a product that people want and get people to buy it profitably.
You need need the creative director. You need to be the creative director. You need to understand the story.
You can't throw AI at something and think it's, you know, it is not a magic button you can press, you know, to double your conversion rate. You've got to really understand the core emotions. You have to go through the 6 dominoes that we teach people on the level 2 course and the, you know, in the program.
Yeah, like people, you know, on our book ads, they go, "Oh, book written by AI," and it's like, well, I'm sure AI could write a book about e-commerce, but it would be absolute nonsense. It would just be pulled together from different ideas and different things like that. And like, sure, AI could maybe help me write some chapters in the future, and I could kind of look at it and then I could do it. But it's not, AI is not the leader. It is the helper. It is the person. So like, let's say someone on a creative team, they might have had 100 staff. Maybe they only need 5, but they still need to have those senior strategic leaders who understand what is good and what is not good. Because it's like, if you ever tried to ask ChatGPT to create a joke, tell you a joke, like it can't tell you a funny joke or really funny joke, because humor is part of the humor experience. That kind of needs to be fresh and new and a different idea, and it needs to catch you unaware. Like if you go back and look at some of the humor that you thought was really funny that you looked at when you were younger, in your 20s or something like that, and you go, this isn't funny anymore because it's been done over and over and over again. And it's like with creativity, with ads, with storytelling, you still need to know what's good so that you can then use the tools in the right way, because it's not going to create magic on its own.
I think here's a sort of taking you back to something you said earlier. You were talking about, look, what AI has actually done really is remove the gatekeepers and the barriers to entry, and it's allowed the small guy to thrive when it was dominated by the bigger players. And I think in a way, we were talking about AI the other day, and I was talking about, look, I'm walking around the centre of Manchester in the UK, and it's the birthplace of the, you know, Industrial Revolution. And everywhere I was looking, there was these old mills, you know, these old Victorian mills where they used to store all the cotton, and they would have the, you know, the big windows, all huge big mills with loads and loads of hundreds and hundreds of windows, because that's how they got the most light in to the room, so you could see the you know, the what's it called, you know, the as they were weaving, and the looms. That's the loom. But what happened is all the other technological advancements like that, which I said, you know, AI is a bit like this, but actually isn't, because the what that was doing was taking away the power from the little guys who were spinning in their little bedrooms, you know, in the local villages, and they would have been running this tiny little business. It took, you know, the Industrial Revolution took away, you know, the livelihoods of all the little guys and put it into the Goliaths of the, you know, the big factory owner who could produce it en masse at much, you know, bigger scale and a cheaper cost. But the opposite is happening with AI, because it's putting the power back into the hands of the little guy, which, to be honest, is benefiting you and me, Mark, and the people that we work with, because the majority, 99%, and the biggest growth in e-commerce is actually the little guys coming in, being disruptive and eating market share away from the big guys. And it's a fantastic thing for e-commerce, and in general, it really plays well, particularly with our industry. You know, and the other thing I'd say, can I say one more thing that's not quite as profound, but it's slightly more profound, is the thing that's changed in all of our years. I mean, we've been working in e-commerce now for like 25 years. And the thing that I have noticed, particularly in the last 5 years, is the size of these e-commerce businesses compared to their staff count. So when we first started, if we had a business that was doing 25 million, you'd be like, wow, there's 200 people, 300 people in that. Huge, big business. Now we've got people who are doing 25 million with 5 people.
Yeah.
And the volume that they can achieve with the size of staff is unbelievable. I had a chat with somebody on Friday, and he was saying that he said the goal is that we need to do 1 million per staff count.
Wow.
So each head has to do £1 million. So we do 60 million, we have 60 people. Wow. I was like, right, okay, that's pretty cool. So these things are unheard of.
$1 million.
No. But it is incredible how the preconception before is you have a big business, you need loads of staff, a big team, and that was what we all thought you needed to have, and actually that is the teams that are lean. And
that's how we built one of our
quick.
businesses, isn't it? I remember we were building our business and we were like, right, we just got to have more people. We got more people, more resource. And that was all the way it was where it was going. And eventually you got this huge team of people.
Well, your fixed costs are too high. Yeah, and you end up
the
more
people you added
of the people,
the more diluted the offering became, the more problems it brought in, and it wasn't scalable. So it was kind of like dilution of the magic, which
and
wasn't
stress,
and just for not as much profit a lot of the time. Whereas now it's kind of coming back, you're getting more control, you can do a lot more. But I guess the other point I was going to flip on the flip side of it, it has also given the power to the fraudster. The fraudster can now create a website, put it up very quickly, make it look really real, have videos of people talking on the website. So on that side, we're going to have that problem of like fraud has become so much easier to look legitimate, to kind of, because people do this all the time. They go and copy a Shopify site and stick it up there and then go and get orders for a couple of weeks. And then really people realize that they're never going to send the stock out and all that kind of stuff. But probably not Shopify, because Shopify locks it down. But it's going to be a lot easier.
I think, yes, it is. But also, the Goliaths still are, you have to navigate your way through Meta and Google. They're still the ones that are,
that isn't being democratized. You've still got the gatekeepers. You've got the Facebook, you've got the Google, you've got the Shopify, you've got the AI people. Like there are going to be, the OpenAI and Grok 3 and Gemini. What's nice about AI is there's a lot of competition, isn't there, across the models?
Yeah.
So it's
it was
not
great
like
that the DeepSeek came out, really, wasn't it? Because it was like, they were
also
able
Grok
to
3. Grok 3 is great.
Yeah. Tell me what Grok 3 is. You've mentioned that a few times. What is that?
It's Twitter's Elon Musk's Grok 3. He had Grok 2 and he came out with Grok 3. So
what is it? Is it a website? Just explain what.
No, it's like ChatGPT. Like you go onto ChatGPT and you ask a question and it does.
When you say go on ChatGPT, I know what you mean, but explain this to our mother.
Okay, so you go onto a website and there is
what's a website?
A form, and you ask a question and it replies to you almost like it's a human, but it will go and do a lot of research.
So it's like searching in Google. Okay, but it's
but it gives you proper answers. So I find that for quick stuff, ChatGPT is really good because you can kind of have an open conversation. You can change tack very quickly. It doesn't think that much most of the time unless you do deep search, and you can kind of get to somewhere very quickly. Whereas Grok 3, if you want a thought-out, well-checked answer, a lot of the time Grok 3 is better because it takes a lot longer to think and it gives you a much longer answer. But what it's not very good is changing tack to take into consideration stuff. So sometimes, recently, I've been building the prompt in ChatGPT and asking it to guess me the questions one by one and building the prompt up and then saying, rate this prompt out of 10 out of 10, check the hidden meaning, all that kind of stuff, and then sticking that into Grok 3 and then actually getting Grok to do it. I found Grok 3 much better for coding. So I've been doing some Google Ads scripts and I've been doing some Shopify liquid changes and some Google Sheets formulas. I find Grok 3
Okay.
much.
So let me just put it
quicker,
in perspective, because I
accurate.
think what I was just saying is I think we're probably in danger of going down the rabbit hole of AI geekness here.
I would
I
go
mean,
down
we
that
are a
hole.
very different type of business. I mean, we've got many different involvements in lots of different businesses. When we're running obviously big coaching program at level 2, we've got a lot going on, and we're running millions of pounds worth of ad budget every month as well. And so we've got many moving parts with many different people and lots of budgets, and we have to have SOPs and systems and structures and all sorts of things. And if you are, but take just one of our e-commerce brands that's a real business, we probably wouldn't be using AI in the back office in the way that you've described. We would have it in our chat, on our live chat system. We'd have it in our email system because it's inbuilt in those technologies already. We'd have it in Shopify because it would be, prompting copy and probably some search recommendations. We would have it in some personalization in the site. That's already there. We wouldn't be going in and we need to go and write a script to take our Google ads, if this, take this data and connect to that. No, we wouldn't be doing that at all. We wouldn't be using AI. We wouldn't be going to Grok 3 or even ChatGPT. We would just be using it within the inherent software we already got. So most people will be in that boat.
I think a lot of people are using ChatGPT. Just basic people are literally using it as the new Google to ask questions. Like as soon as they discover how easy it is to use, like everybody on the level 1, like you start talking about ChatGPT, level 1 is our entry-level program. If they start talking about ChatGPT, everybody's like got a story about how they're using it, how it's helped them, how it's learned their business, and it understands them. And
do you know what I use it for? I use it for quizzes around the dinner table. So I've got 3 daughters. One's 5 who loves Bluey, the cartoon Bluey.
No.
One loves, it's Australian, Mark. You mean you're near there? And one loves Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and one loves Stranger Things. And so I said, right, we need to do a quiz, and we're going to do an alternated quiz. We're going to start with the Bluey question, then we're going to go to the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then we're going to go to Stranger Things, and we do a little quiz, and it just does it, and it reads it out, and it's a fun thing.
What surprises me is how crap Alexa has been. I was just listening to that.
Do you know what's even worse? Siri. Hey Siri.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
ChatGPT and all these things have been available for quite a while now, and yet they are still useless. Like, why wouldn't they just kind of go just like add it to an AI model or something?
Yeah.
Because like I know Alexa, I'm trying not to say the word. I know the A1.
It's like Voldemort, the name
it's like,
you
can't
cannot
say
name.
He who
I
know there's been an update in America where it's come through and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know why it's taken so.
It's supposedly been rolled out to Apple, the Apple Intelligence, but I mean, I can't see any difference to Siri at all. Completely. It's very disappointing. But look, generally,
it will happen.
I think generally, in most cases, let's say you're an e-commerce brand, you're doing $1 million a year. I actually don't think you need to, kill yourself in terms of sweating about AI. I think it's naturally starting to come within the software that you're already using. And I think if there was one thing that I would be looking at is how it can help you create ads in Meta.
Yeah.
That's where I would go. If I was going to just to say one thing, if I was an e-commerce business looking at this, I would be using it to do my ads, my creation, more and more to help me do it.
Yeah. And the other side of it is, I think, a couple of months' time, even not here, it's already here, like customer support and things like that. Like getting the data ready for that is really important. So, like if you go into your customer support team and say, what are questions you're answering all the time? What's the template answer? And what do we say about this? And just having all your kind of SOP answers like done, so that by the time you can plug in your knowledge base, and it's already in Zendesk and Gorgeous and those kind of Stripe stuff, but like that data is effectively like any AI model: good data in, good data out, good model in, good model out. And so you have to start to think about how to do that. So like the bedding site, we get certain questions that happen all over and over and over again, and we have got templated answers, but like, are they the best answers that we would want? And would we want to use that to train the model on? And is that something we want to do? And what else do we need to give it access to? Like, you got to think about, if you had this genius coming to your business, what data would you want them to see? And they say, oh, because it's like Ed, who sells the water filters, and he's like, well, it goes and learns the website in about 40 seconds and reads every single bit of information we've got on the website, all the knowledge base, and then immediately can suggest the right water filter for somebody. And whereas that would take 6 months of training with a support person to really understand the nuances of it. And that's game changing, isn't it?
I think, really? And also what he said he's doing is, he says he's got, a real customer service team, but he says, if you got a question you don't know the answer to, put it into the AI and ask the question, and give the response. But if it comes back with a ridiculous response, obviously don't answer it, but use it as a guide, so he's kind of sense check. But it's those sort of things, I think, that are going to get better and better and better. And I think it's just going to enable shit to get done faster. And that's the most exciting bit.
It's helping clever people pull away faster. And I guess that the only worry is the people who, like, if in Auckland, if there's a job for like a waitress or something like that, they are getting absolutely oversubscribed, like thousands and thousands of applications, because the job for the unskilled person, and they do need jobs for unskilled person, because someone might be doing a study course or learning something, but they need some money to top it up. And those jobs are very difficult to find now, because like a lot of them are going. And I was like saying to Dad the other day, like in France, with the toll roads, they don't really have little men and women sitting in booths taking the money anymore, because it's all done by, like AI, just reading the number plate and charging them and doing those kind of stuff. So those kind of jobs are disappearing. And you really, it's harder, because if you're someone that doesn't study stuff and learn stuff. On
the flip side, it is a wealth creator, which creates businesses, and new businesses and new industries will emerge that don't exist now.
Yeah. And there's the argument that when they said that women doing the typewriter pulls were going to lose the job and work, and they all became influencers on Instagram. So
it was all going really well until that last statement.
Well, what I'm saying is there's new jobs created for different people who are losing their jobs, but it does take time. And it does, and there are. It's not like certain parts of the demographic don't get left behind. So, like, there might be jobs created over here, but the people who are trained up as miners, for example, like that's all that was done for 40 years, and so it's like it's difficult for them to suddenly become.
The same argument has been going on for generations and generations previously, and it will do in the future.
The nice thing is, Ian, you and I don't have to fix it.
Yeah, we'll be,
and the people listening to this podcast
retired
don't have to fix it, because we're in e-commerce.
Do we not have a moral duty to do this for our children and our grandchildren? Do we to fix it? Do we need to fix it? You don't. You can't fix it. You just have to run with it.
You have to run with it.
Go with the flow of the river.
You have to earn a good living, and then be a kind person with the billions of dollars you're going to make from the AI. Just give a little bit out here and there. Just say, here you go and buy yourself a bag of chips. There you go. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It must be late
on that
there.
Cheery note. Yeah, I know. Well, we should call it a day.
Yeah.
But thank you. I think we'll summarize it there. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks everyone.
See you soon.
Cheerio.
Bye bye.